Hey guys, I'm back for another market update, so let's get started. I'm using one of my cheaper mics because I heard the quality might be better on that, so just let me know how it is. Alright, so I have to talk about Prismatic because yeah, I didn't quite expect this, and I think I made a video a while back saying the prices plummeted, but they didn't really go down that much. But honestly, like the prices have just been really decreasing. You just see this steady drop over here. When I expand the view, we're kind of back to December, like early December pricing. Early December is when it finally crossed like uh, 100 or that late November, and we're kind of back to about same price. So ETB's dropped to about 105 just now or recently. Um, it's really annoying over here because it's hard to find the lowest actual listing. There's a lot of accessory items, but yeah, I see a bunch of 10 essentially 105s or 104 somethings. So yeah, I didn't really expect this to happen. I did notice each day as I was tracking it that the price would just not really recover. So it first started with the reprint news. For those of you who don't know, there was some reprint news announced right before Prismatic release. Like I think it was like released on the 16th or something, and yeah, on the I think on the 15th, they just released some news that they were going to reprint it, and it just sort of crashed the price a lot. So we were seeing prices go all the way to like 150s, and that was like triple MSRP, and it would start going down to like 130. All of a sudden, people were fire selling, and yeah, it's been going up and down, and it probably will go back up, but yeah, we're at a really big low point. It just the prices have just been steadily decreasing. So today's Prismatic update shows that even the last day, it went from 114 to 110 to 105 now. And everything else, like a lot of other things, haven't really changed much over time. The main things affected have been the PC ETB and the normal ETB, but the other things have been a little more steady. But yeah, this Prismatic thing, quantity wise, we're still selling quite a bit, but we do see demand declining. And I want to be optimistic about this. And the only person who told me that this might happen was actually Rudy from Alpha Investments. He said he expected the price to flip flop a lot because there's a lot of sellers in the market now. I think it was because this all kind of started around Surging Sparks, and back then people didn't know to buy ahead of time, and booster boxes you can't get anywhere, so booster boxes were kind of just steadily rising. But also booster boxes for Surging Sparks, they they only had growth to go at that point because they started so low around release day. Let's see, they were released around November. Is that 3 months ago? I think that's close enough. Yeah, at some point they were like 110, 120, but like this is still less than double MSRP. And even for like people who got the low point, this is like double like the low point. So it still takes a while. There's still a lot of room to grow. Versus Prismatic was triple MSRP from the start, so it just it just makes a little more sense. Like doesn't have as much room to grow. But yeah, it is if you've been holding Prismatic and you're hoping for the big gains. Like it's been pretty disappointing. And yeah, it's not just like if it crashed from like 150 to 104 in a day, then maybe it's just too extreme, it might recover. It's just been like a long 2 weeks since release of like no excitement. There's been no excitement for since the packs or anything. It's just like a decline. It's great for if you want to get in on it to a sense. It's still expensive, but yeah, and the main things I could think about are like the packs aren't really the pull rates are kind of bad. They don't have full art Pokemon and illustration rares aside from like the main EVs, unlike Evolving Skies. But yeah, I don't want to belabor Prismatic, but yeah, it's just been a pretty rough road. If it drops below 100, that would be kind of a really big like a turning point. I feel like. So yeah, and then the normal ATBs, the demand's kind of decreasing a little bit. I mean, the Pokemon Center ATBs. All right, what else? Um, it seems like a lot of the money is actually going to Scarlet Violet in the last day. So I'm pretty excited to talk about that. So Sword and Shield had like pretty much no change. uh, I just did this Lost Origin decrease by about $5, but everything else was like the same. But yeah, the big one, I see Stellar Crown over here. So if you guys follow my Pokemon Center stock videos, I've been telling you guys that the Pokemon Center stock for Stellar Crown has been dwindling. I can just pull up that spreadsheet real quick. So the summarized version, I don't know if it's updated with the last day because I don't always update this unless I make a video. But yeah, it was like the stock's been dwindling from like 70 over 7,000 on the third to about five. It's probably about 5,000 now because I didn't add the 129. Add the 129. That is 129 5212. Yeah. And then I also know that Stellar Crown booster bundles were they just sold out yesterday, I think. And so this is going to accelerate. Usually, what we'll see with past booster boxes is that rates will increase. Vivid voltage it gets up to the few hundreds, and at the minimum. And so once it gets to a few hundred, just basic division, like let's say it was 300 bucks a day, so that's like 17 days. That's less. That's like 2.5 weeks. So it just makes sense that Stellar Crown will rise up in price above MSRP because not everyone can buy from Pokemon Center, and that's why people are actually buying at that price. So you see some 164s, but in general, like everyone knows it's undervalued at that point because it's going to sell out. So why are they selling you at below MSRP? It doesn't make any sense unless you have a deal or something. But this is a very typical pattern for booster boxes. Temporal, when that starts to sell out, you'll see it going like above MSRP. Like it's going a little bit above MSRP isn't a big deal, but it's been stuck at around 161 for a while. It did go up a little bit, but it went back down because there's just not the seal. There's a Pokemon Center ceiling. Obsidian Flames, there was a lot of boxes sold yesterday, and the price did go up. So you see this big spike over here. So normally it's like sometimes it's like there's a spike of 20, but normally it's more like 10, like 5 to 10 boxes, and yesterday was 38. That is probably because like some people bought like 12 here and 9 here, but yeah, it really did increase the price from like about $5. And Obsidian Flame's been pretty popular. It hasn't not been at that price before. If I look at the history, like it's gone to the 170s before. It got 180 was reached on uh the 14th, but yeah, it's been kind of moving back and forth, and now it's kind of moving back. So it could be corrected, or yeah, I don't really know how much Obsidian is left, but it's still technically a relatively new booster box. But there's 174 on the market. Okay, next Obsidian, Stellar. I want to talk about SV Base and Paldea. So SV Base, it kind of recovered. It's been at 143, 144 before. Uh, but I did see a few sales. I did see it's 148. And when I go scroll down, there's only one person selling at this 144. After that, it's actually 148. So yeah, it's maybe finally going to take off. People think it's the best base set in the modern era, and yeah, it's just so old that people don't have a lot of it. Like you see what happens with Sword and Shield base. Sword and Shield base is very expensive at 450, and that makes it pretty much it's tied with Fusion Strike basically as the second most expensive booster box is Sword and Shield, and everyone knows about Sword and Shield. It's like everyone like loves it pretty much and thinks it's a great investment. So yeah, I've been kind of waiting on Scarlet Violet base, but yeah, there it's people would rather buy other things at the moment basically. And then Paldea, it went up only $1, but it's been at 191. Like you see this price drop over here. because Safari Zone offloaded a bunch of ones, and it seems like it's finally off. And I see this one for 192, but after that it's gonna shoot back to 200. So yeah, we might be out of the cheap Paldea period and might go to back to 200 pretty soon. But yeah, this was just a market dump basically. So if you want to get Paldea, it could rise soon because people really like Paldea. It has risen a lot already, but yeah, unless there's another event where people are dumping boxes again, like it might just stay above 200 for a while. All right, so talked about Prismatic, Crown Zenith. Yeah, it's already recovering back from what it was before. The sea and skies have come back up from the day before. I made a video yesterday saying how it's so cheap because yeah, I could see sea and sky boxes for 84 on TCG Player. Like this isn't like you rushing a Sam Sub. It's like just go on TCG Player. You pay $6 a pack. That's $1 above MSRP. But yeah, it's gone back up to about 90. So that's a nice recovery. And in general, Crown Zenith, yeah, like people are buying it up. I do see like in the last couple of days, demand has been a little higher than it was before at like 500, 300, and 400 packs per day. Before it was like 100 ish per day, maybe 200 every now and then. So yeah, that's raising prices. And then booster bundles, yeah, they had this little spike in demand. And SC and Sky have been like generally up because there've been more sales, and that's because it's been so cheap. Yeah, you've seen this orographic Crown a lot. Like a lot of people start buying because the prices are cheaper, and then the price goes up, but people buy it out. So, but if people buy out too much, then the price will go back up. Crown Zenith has repeatedly shown how resilient it is, and it's just sort of Pokemon trying to crush it every time, especially with Sea and Sky, because getting like these MSRP $5 packs for like two something so easily from Sam's Club repeatedly is just crazy. It's just like please try and crush it, and it just keeps coming back. It's probably frustrating for investors though, because they're just probably just waiting for Krause to take off. But it is a buying opportunity, and the ETBs haven't moved in the last couple of days. But they did reach they stayed at the high point of 110, and I think it's just journeying together after that. Yeah. But yeah, I think I might put in the video type about Prismatic going down 30%. Yeah, that is a 30% drop. I probably should have mentioned that earlier, but yeah, before the price was at like 146. So if we do like 104 divided by 146, that's like 70%. So if we do one minus that, that's like 30% basically. Joining together, I keep seeing every now and then weird sales. Like Pokemon Center ETB, if this is real, then this is four Pokemon ETBs for like about $520, and that's 520 divided by 4. That's only $130 at ETB, and these normally go for 200. So I always wonder if these will get canceled eventually. And this is also a pretty cheap box. Like it's best accepted offer, so I don't know what the actual one is. But even at this price, that was like 1150 for booster box case, so less than $200 a box, and that's pretty cheap. Otherwise, the boxes have been kind of about market price. This one too, this is a little cheap. This is like 160 at Pokemon Center ETB. Well, I mean, we've seen Pokemon Center ETBs crash before, like literally Prismatic. It was at 400 at some point. You see this big, like all this hype, and then they crash. And then Battle Partners is still the Japanese version. Japanese version joined together is still around over 100. I see it going 110, so it might be dropping a little bit. Yeah, that's today's video. Thanks, guys. Bye.